Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the 9th webinar of our Associate Member Webinar Series. Today we have an innovative method to recycle return concrete, and it's presented for us by MAPEI. My name is Tracy De Silva. I am the Office Manager with Concrete Ontario, and I will be your facilitator today. Joining me, we have Oliver Zhao, our Technical Services Engineer, and Oliver will be running our question and answer period at the end of the presentation. It's been our pleasure to host this webinar series over the year and to give you all a chance to learn more about some of the products and services that our associate members provide and the opportunities that they present for the concrete industry. I'd just like to quickly go over a few housekeeping points. Today, the webinar will be approximately 40 minutes with a question and answer period at the end, followed by our Kahoot pop quiz. So we encourage you to stick around, pay attention. There's some great prizes to be won. All participants will be muted during the presentation. And if you do have questions, and we do encourage that, we welcome you to use the GoToWebinar questions pane. So just type in your questions and Oliver will have them at the end of the presentation. This webinar will be recorded and posted on the Concrete Ontario website, along with a PDF copy. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenters. We have Ross Mansour, Sales Rep, Admixtures with MAPEI. And we also have Yves Brosseau, Business Development Manager, also with MAPEI. And thank you so much, Ross and Yves, for joining us today. And at this time, Ross, I will hand the controls over to you.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm not scrolling here. Have I got control?
You should. Just bear with me a moment.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks to Concrete Ontario and Oliver and Tracy for allowing us to present our innovative technology. I just thought I'd give a brief overview of MAPEI for those of you who I haven't popped into their office yet. Always willing to come and pay a personal visit and talk about the company. But just to give you a little background on MAPEI, MAPEI is a private Italian company. They've been in business for over 80 years. Their first manufacturing plant outside of Italy was in Canada in Laval, and for over 40 years now. We've just expanded the plant to include an admixture area, and there's a further expansion going on to accommodate the new business that's happening. I shouldn't say new, let me see here. MAPEI represents 9 product lines in North America. They have over 5,000 products, so there's a lot there: tile and stone, floor covering, concrete restoration systems, underground construction, waterproofing, cement additives such as grinding aids, resin and floor systems. But the one here, the Concrete Admixture Group, started about 5 years ago, and we've slowly been expanding into the Canadian market. Just gives a map of the manufacturing around North America and the distribution centers. Just a quick introduction of the team. The western side has actually been filled out with 2 people, just haven't got their pictures yet, but Martin Vachon is the Canadian product line manager. Some of you might know him from previous lives with Sika and with Axon in the old days, but he's still young, one of the smartest guys I know. Yves Brosseau, who you're going to hear from later, is in charge of Eastern Canada. We've got Eric Bedard, Martin Goslin, and then myself in Ontario. So we have a complete line of admixtures, accelerators, water reducers, mid-range, fibers, air entrainers, set retarders, specialized shrinkage reducing admixtures. We have 10 products on the DSM list for MTO, for those who aren't aware. A couple are in the pipeline. But the specific one we're going to talk about today is Recon Zero Evo, and it's with regards to recycling waste plastic concrete. It's a pretty amazing product and it's pretty unique in the market. So with that, I'll turn it over to Yves, and he'll give you some background on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Russ and Tracy, for the introduction. Okay, we're there. Okay, let me see if this moves. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna briefly discuss today a new technique. Well, let's say new. It's been implemented in Europe and Asia for more than 10 years now. But here in North America, we started off maybe 2-3 years ago. As you know, concrete is one of the most used construction material in the world. We're talking about 13 billion cubic meters worldwide. And as you know, probably 1 to 3%, even sometimes up to 5% of the concrete produced does not reach, work sites and needs to be recycled. And that represents 600 million tons to recycle. So every ready-mix producer is well aware of that situation. They need to manage this return concrete on a daily basis. And there are different methods available right now to manage this return concrete. One of the first methods that maybe a lot of you use it is dumping, stockpiling, crushing, and disposing of concrete. Now, this needs a lot of space, as you know, to stock the materials. It can cause some environmental issues as well, because you have fine particles that can be dissolved in the soils and in the water. So, and it needs, of course, a lot of organization to dispose the materials. And there may be some fees. People that takes this material charge right now per ton, and they charge more and more to take this type of material. Some contractors now, they crush it, they can reuse it as a fill material, but it's still a big volume to dispose and to take care of. So this is one of the operations that you could see on ready-mix sites to recycle this concrete. So you can see that this is needs a lot of space and times, and it's noisy operation, dusty, and sometimes the neighbors don't like it, so it's difficult to do. Blocks are also made. They need a lot of space as well. You need people to manage those blocks. So material and human costs are involved to produce those blocks. Some of those blocks in terms of durability, if you use non-air and training concrete, and more owners are asking for the aesthetics of those type of blocks. So it's not always easy to manage those blocks and to resell them and stuff like that. Hydration stabilizer was another technique that was used, at least when I started off in concrete in the 90s. We tried to implement this type of material. So it's a concrete admixture. It works well on paper, but it is kind of difficult to use in reality. You need to use the right dosage, depending on the type of concrete, the type of cement, the temperature, the water cement ratio. So, but you can freeze the concrete between a couple of hours to, let's say, up to 5 days with this thing. Of course, the goal is to manage the return concrete at the end of the day only with this type of method. And it's kind of tricky to use. So it's not been very much used by ready-mix producers because it's difficult to use. Reclaiming systems are also used by many producers. They are expensive to buy. There's a lot of maintenance required with this type of technology. not also usable all year long, depending on your location. You know, with the cold temperature, it's difficult to work with those systems. And still, you need to dispose the cement paste and do something with it. So it's pretty good to recycle the granular material, but what are we going to do with the paste? So this is still a problem to manage with those type of systems. So the choice of the optimal method that you're going to use depends on many factors. So do we have employee available? Do we have space available on site? Is it too complex for our company to do this system? What's the environment requirements locally, the municipality or the government, or, you know, how much does it cost to treat? And what's the capital required to implement the solution? So, so each producer has to find the best method that suits him best, you know, for what he wants to do. Now we are going to introduce a method which is called Recon Zero Evo. Why we named this product? Recon is for return concrete, and zero for zero impact on the environment that we think. So the goal with this is to turn fresh concrete into reusable aggregates. And one of the first use is as a substitution for fill materials, road base or whatever. So you know that concrete in general can be recycled. Even old structures, you know, when they tear down structures and they demolish the concrete, you can reuse it. With return concrete, it's an even better solution because the concrete has not been contaminated by chlorides or whatever, or, you know, we know that the aggregates in this return concrete that you had today has up-to-date, good quality aggregates in it. So it's interesting, even better than using old concrete, you know, to do substitution for fill materials. We can also use partial substitution of these aggregates in new concrete production. That's something that we need to target. Of course, it's difficult to do this right now, but it can be done for some type of concrete. And so it's good to approach municipalities, government to promote this kind of approach. And we'll discuss that a little bit further. The Recon Zero Evo comes in a box. There's 6. You can treat 6 cubic meter of concrete with a box like that. It's a 2-component system that we had both at the same time. In the past, we were using separate sequence for each of the product. Right now, we found out that it works as well when you add up the two products. So there's one component that granulates the concrete, and there's another component. It's a set accelerator, you know, to minimize hydration after the fact. So there's still some minor hydration going on after, but it works fine with this mix of 2 products. So you mix during 3 to 4 minutes, and then after you're gonna see a video here. This is within the drum. So you see that the concrete is probably around 6 inches in slump. And you'll see that we're going to add the products, and you'll see the influence in the concrete. So we send the bags in. It's soluble bags. So we send actually both components at the same time. And you see rapidly that the concrete changes its properties. So it goes from very fluid to very dry. Now you'll see the concrete getting out of the truck. Now it is a granular material. The best thing is to lay a thickness of maximum of 12 inch, 30 centimeter. We don't want to lay too thick to avoid that, you know, this sticks together. So that's why we try to limit the thickness of the material when it gets out of the ready-mix truck. Okay. So now you see the material. You see the effect of the material around aggregates. So the paste of the concrete is going to stick around on the aggregates and all the aggregates, actually, even the sand. So that's how this technology works. Now, when you use Recon Zero, you need to rework the material within 24 hours. So depending on the temperature of your concrete or outside temperature, you need to rework the material. Of course, if it's very warm during summertime, the best thing is to rework it at the end of the day to make sure that the particles doesn't jam all together, right? So usually, let's say during summertime, once or twice a day, you try to rework the material. And if it's colder, then you can do it, let's say, the next day in the morning when the guys get at the plant. So some ready-mix producers developed a way, they have a stockpile of the older material, which is dry material, and they mix about 50-50 with the new material. And so the powder of the old material coats the new material, and there's no sticking of the material. So there are different methods that can be used that we can discuss with ready-mix producers so that it can be easy to implement. One of the things we saw in ready-mix, now you can, some producers, they have some sort of a pound and they dump the concrete there. You can use a retarder with it if it's, and then you mix it with an excavator, and then it turns out into Recon aggregates as well with this method. It's not as fast as the ready-mix truck, but it works well. So if you want to dispose rapidly the concrete, dump it rapidly, not treating the, you don't want to spend 4 minutes in mixing it in the truck, it may be a solution that can be done. Also in a stockpile, you can do that. So you just dump the concrete there, the return concrete, and then with the loader, you can mix everything together. Of course, as in the pond, it takes a little longer to do, but it works well as well with this method. So you see the pile of aggregates here, which can be reused for some applications. The aggregate characteristics. As you know, concrete, the coarse material, the combination of coarse material and fine materials is the best combination in terms of gradation as a compacting material. So it's very similar to a 0.75 inch requirements that you would have in terms of gradation. Now, if you see the modulus, the fineness modulus is coarser with the Recon Zero in it, because of course the paste coat the aggregates, and then it increases a little bit the gradation of the material overall. So but it's a very good material to use even in the concrete after that. So but the thing is, if you have, since it is a coarser material, you can add some of the paste that comes from the you know, the recycling facility that you have for your concrete. So the finer material can be added up to 20%, what we call the cake, to this mix before treating with Recon Zero. So this will reduce the fineness modulus of your mix after that, and at the same time you get rid of this finer material that you have in your recycling facility. So it can be something interesting to do. The concrete properties, if you add, let's say you replace only 5% of your concrete with the Recon Zero aggregates, if you compare against the reference with Zero in terms of compressive strength, in terms of flexural strength, in terms of modulus of elasticity, it gives about the same results. So there's no change. So in reality, you could probably target 5% replacement of aggregates with recon aggregates and still have a very good quality concrete, very durable. We've got a lot of data is coming from Sherbrooke University, and with the City of Montreal, we did some testing that we can show to some of the customers, owners, to show what kind of results you can get with this thing. Now, if you go with higher replacement, we've got here R, which is the reference with zero replacement, and this is test being done in North America. So you can see that if you go 20%, 40%, let's say that within 40%, there's just minor difference compared to the reference. If you go over 40%, then yes, you can have some modification, reduction in terms of performance, etc. But let's say within 40%, the minor difference, there are some just minor difference compared to the reference. As you can see here, the strengths are pretty similar. I know that in Japan, they use a lot this technology, and I know that we have a customers down there. I didn't go there. I trust the guy who gave me the information, but they use up to 100% replacement of Recon Zero in some non-structural concrete. So non-structural concrete can be what? It's not residential concrete. It's not a bridge, of course, but it can be, let's say, driveways. It could be in some situations sidewalks and stuff like that. So so they use up to 100% replacement with this type of technology. So I think there's a potential to develop this technology, at least for the use of 5%. It may be something that can be implemented in the future, hopefully. So that's about what we wanted to show you about Recon Zero. I hope you liked the presentation, and we may be a little bit early in terms of the the presentation itself. So, but thanks a lot for attending the presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We'll be happy to discuss that with you.
Yeah, Yves, I just wanted to mention as well too, I've done a few demos around Ontario, and I've done it in 30-degree weather, and I've done it in -10-degree weather, and it works in all cases, and it works across a broad range of strengths as well. The only thing with fibers, it's a bit of an issue, but other than that, it has some pretty amazing results. Done it in the rain as well too, so that's and it worked no problem. So.
Thank you so much, Yves and Ross. That was very informative. I'd like to hand it over to Oliver now, and we'll trouble you to answer a few questions for us. Oliver? Have we lost Oliver? Oliver, are you able to join us?
Yes, thank you, Yves. Sorry about that. I'm losing some audio here. One question would be, typically if you have, for example, a 1 meter, 2 meter concrete return, how long would that take for the whole process?
It's very rapid. Once the truck arrives, you just introduce the product in the both bags, I mean, in the ready-mix truck, and after 4 minutes you can dump the concrete. So it's pretty fast to do, 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Another question will be, is there any additional testing requirement using this material as an aggregate?
Well, it depends on the requirements locally. Let's say if you do work for a municipality, they may have some specific requirements for the recycled material being used. But if you see places where crushed old concrete can be used as a recycled material, this material is even better than that because it's not contaminated with chlorides or, the new aggregates in it makes it even better than the old stuff, that you recycle. So usually, like with the city of Montreal, we met them, we discussed with them, and they rapidly accepted that. And they are even looking at using it in sidewalks. So they tested the materials at different proportions, and they are looking to come up pretty soon with some recommendations about the use of this material in concrete. Now, the problem with ready-mix producers sometimes is you need another bin, to use this type of granular materials, and sometimes it's not possible for them, and they will probably prefer to sell it right now as a fill material. But of course, check it out with MTO, their requirements in terms of recycling and City of Toronto, whatever, Ottawa, and I would suggest you discuss with them. We can do that with you. We can assist ready-mix producers in doing so. But we need to check what are the requirements.
Just a follow-up to this question. Have you done any, for example, testing that correlates to CSA requirement? The question is more on how well, this treated aggregate meets those requirements. For example, abrasion, freeze and thaw, absorption, AER, and etc.
Yes, we did something actually with Sherbrooke University. It's more my teammate Martin Vachon was in charge of that. If you can, we can probably gather the information. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I can gather the documentation and the information. If we can get the names of the people interested by this question, I can get the information, but I don't have it in front of me right now. But yes, a lot of these testing has been done with Sherbrooke University. We did actually with many, we did actually with, I think, 3 or 4 ready-mix producers, major ready-mix producers that we did. So we did the recon testing, and we sent the recon aggregates to Sherbrooke for evaluation.
Awesome, thank you, Yves. And maybe a last question here. We understand that you send out those material in pails or bucket that you showed. Usually, what's the time turnover? Is there any delays currently if there's a rush order being placed through you guys with all these logistic challenges we're having here?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean the availability of the product?
Yes.
Yes, we do have a lot of products available. Yeah, no problem.
Awesome, perfect. Well, thank you, Yves and Ross. I'm sure we're going to, at the beginning of the presentation, we have your contact information, and we encourage everyone to reach out to Yves and Ross directly if there's any specific question, because I feel the application are more specific to that application and whether any use for recycle aggregate is needed here. Thank you so much. Yes. So I'm going to head back to Tracy for some more quiz question about the presentation.
Thank you, Oliver. And once again, thank you, Yves and Ross, for this excellent presentation. I do hope that everyone has been paying attention because we are going to move into our Kahoot pop quiz round. So I will ask you all to get out your cell phones, your smartphones, and go to www.kahoot.it. And in a moment, I will share with you the game pin that you can enter into your phone. At this time, if you do go to that website and enter in your email address and a nickname, Please keep in mind this is a family show, so we ask you to use an HR-friendly nickname. The email address will be used to forward you your prize if you are a winner. The Kahoot quiz, the faster you answer each question correctly, the more points you will earn for the correct answer. And our prizes today are Amazon gift cards. Our first place prize is $150. Our second place prize is $100, and our third place prize is $50. So at this point, we'll pull up the game pin. So once again, if you go to www.kahoot.it, enter in your email address and a nickname, and enter in the game pin 8319136. We'll give everyone a few moments to register and enter the game pin. Another couple of minutes. Wait, one more minute. Okay, looks like we've got 8 contestants. So we'll get started on the quiz. In 3, 2, 1. What country in the world is MAPEI's head office? Few more seconds. And the correct answer is Italy. And TRM has the lead. We'll move on to our next question. What is the name of MAPEI's recycled waste concrete product? Another couple of seconds. Well done. Everyone got that right. And TRM maintains the lead. Third question. What is the annual world production of concrete? Three more seconds. Okay, pretty split answers on that one. And Lapman has taken the lead. Moving on. What percentage of concrete does not reach the work site and must be recycled? One to 3%. And Labman maintains the lead, TRM right behind him. Question 5, we're halfway there. What methods exist for recycling waste concrete? All of the above, and everyone got it. Labman, 4 correct answers in a row. Question 6. Recon Zero Evo consists of how many components? Another few seconds. The correct answer is 2. Okay, Labman still maintaining the lead. Others are catching up. Question 7. Recon Zero Evo can be applied using which method? Correct answer, all of the above. Brockhead's moving up. Question 8. Recon Zero Evo aggregate can be used for the following. Okay, correct answer B and C. And Labman still maintaining the lead. Very close game though. True or false? Recon Zero Evo aggregate must be mixed in the first 24 hours. The answer is true. And we are down to our last question. True or false? Recon Zero Evo is a product that helps a producer make the best use of his waste concrete. And that is true. And the results are in. iTest in 3rd place, TRM in 2nd place, and our winner in 1st place is Labman. Thank you everyone so much for playing. That was a great quiz. And for our 3 winners, you will receive your Amazon gift cards by email shortly. Thank you everyone for joining us. It was wonderful to have you here today, and we welcome you to join us on December the 9th at 10 a.m. for our next associate member webinar brought to you by Road King. We've had some great presentations in the series thus far, and we hope to see you for our final webinar of 2021 in December. Stay healthy and safe, and thank you very much.